Hello, welcome back to my daily Silk Road mountain race updates. As you can see, I'm back home now, so hopefully I'll be a bit more consistent with uploads. So this is day 3, and let's have a little look at map progress. And it's been a bit of an up and down race. Obviously, we saw in the last update that everyone was suffering with basically heat stroke. Incredibly hot at the start, 40 degrees. And it seems to be pretty much everyone in the field has had some kind of heat-related issues. And I guess the question really is who's dealt with them the best. And we're starting to see a bit of a kind of grouping at the front of the race. All the front there is within what are we now? They've got this one group here. So Omar Marteleno, he was first in CP1. Alex Kopp, Justinas Levejka, Jens van der Oost. They've been kind of there or thereabouts from the start. And then about 20k back, we've got this other little group here of Niels Kopp, Sofian Sahili, and Manu Katrus, and it looks like Stephen Davis. He seemed to cope with the heat pretty well on that first day, and it looks like they're probably stopping for the night. So as I record this, it's pretty much 10 p.m. local time in Kyrgyzstan. So normally a grouping like this would probably suggest there's some kind of yurt camp or accommodation at least before the riders head up into the wilds. So I guess these guys here are most likely going to be bivvying tonight. And yeah, starting to get up some pretty high elevation there as well. You can see on the dots here on map progress that they're climbing up towards the Chinese border road. The Chinese border road is this section here. We'll check it out on Rival GPS in a minute. And yeah, it's getting into classic Silk Road mountain race territory now, and hopefully the temperatures will be cooling down for them. But I guess it depends how much has been taken out of these riders in the kind of the early stages. Basically, we've seen pretty much everyone be sick. Justinas has been sick. Not heard from Alex. Jens had his rim problem. Niels was saying he was sick. Sofian said he was not feeling great. Not heard from Stephen Davis, but he seemed to cope the best on the first day. Max Reese has been sick, and I'm pretty sure if you went down the list, pretty much everyone would have been sick. So it's definitely who's recovered best and who's looked after themselves. Kerry McPhee, she's leading the women's race at the moment, and she seems to have done a really great job of dealing with the heat on that first day. There's a really good Instagram post we'll play later, and she's just ahead, just under 10k ahead of Natalie Schneiner. And so yeah, it's looking actually like we could have a really good women's race now. Cynthia Carson, who was one of the pre-race favourites, has unfortunately scratched. She really succumbed to the heat and sickness. Although I do wonder, there seems to be a lot of problems with heat, but I do wonder if some of the sickness is also to do with water, because I think obviously the heat stroke can cause you to be sick, and riders have therefore been drinking lots and lots of water. And it's just imperative in Kyrgyzstan that you treat the water, because our weak Western stomachs can't necessarily deal with it. It's sickness is a problem out there if you're not careful. And I think maybe if you are using chlorine or whatever in water and you don't give it the full 30 minutes to treat, and you rush and you drink it, and your body's already worn down, then you could well be asking for trouble. And I do wonder if a few riders have maybe done that and fallen foul of it. It just seems to be a lot of sickness, and I do wonder if it is just the heat alone. So that's a very quick overview. Before I go any further, I just got to thank the sponsors. They make it happen. And first up, we can see headline sponsor of the Silk Road Mountain Race. They've been a sponsor of me for years now. Albion. So they've got plenty of riders out there. I showed you some of the kit yesterday that riders are using, and yeah, you see lots of riders in those sun jerseys. We'll come on to Kerry in a minute on a voice note, and she specifically says how good the sun jersey was for her. They also do some other sun layers, these long sleeve sun protect jerseys, and yeah, just protecting yourself from the sun can make a massive difference. It's amazing actually what it can do for you. So yeah, check out all those products over on the Albion website. They do loads of really good stuff. You've probably seen me wearing it in events such as the Silk Road over the years, and I've got a 15% discount code, so I'll put that up on the screen. And my second sponsor, Cycle Plus, I mentioned the little e-pumps. They also do a really big range of turbo trainers. I've actually just taken delivery of one of their R200 smart trainers. Training starts properly again tomorrow with a fitness test for me, looking towards the Taurus mountain race after my TCR. So I'm going to be on the turbo trainer tomorrow doing a ramp test. I've got the R200, which is pretty good value, and really, well, it's a really compact unit, really smart. So I shall be doing my ramp test on that tomorrow. I'll let you know how it is. And also, the main thing I use turbo trainer for is heat training. And I think that's going to be key on this, well, certainly the early part of this Silk Road race. And I suspect that the riders that have probably dealt the best with the first couple of days of the Silk Road mountain race are the ones that have been sat on their turbo trainers in their rain gear, in their down jackets, doing heat training. It sucks. It really sucks, but it is very effective. So yeah, that's what I use my turbo trainer for. So yeah, big thank you to Cyc Plus, and again, the little discount. And last plug, finally, just my own little web shop. I've got my little zines. I've got the newest one that I put together just for TCR and ran out of time to shout about it. So it's got a few images from some of the trips, Dale's Divide. There was just a little ride out. There's, well, you see Justinas there talking of riders in the Silk Road, and just a Peak District overnighter, and the Hellenic Mountain Race. So yeah, just a collection of early season photos there, and I've still got some caps as well. I've got one or two of these left. So once these are gone, these are gone. These are the coloured caps. Actually, speaking of Justinas again, he is my model for my caps here, and I've got a fair few black ones left. So if you want to support the channel, that's a way you can do it. So I'll put the link on screen, and I'll shut up about product now, and let's get over to Rider GPS. So this is the section that the rider's been through, CP1 here on Songkhol Lake, and I'll go on to I've got this demo version of the new upcoming 3D map, which is really cool. So we can spin around, and this gives you a really kind of a good idea of kind of the geography of Kyrgyzstan. So you can see there's these kind of like high plateaus and passes. So the riders would have come through, dropped down and climbed up here to Songkhol Lake, and you can see it's kind of like a bowl. So the riders have to climb up the pass here, drop down and around the lake. If you looked at my preview video, I've got some video there from when I rode it in 2023. And you can see it's kind of just rolling, but it's 3,000 meters. So altitude is the thing now. And then they can see they get a bit of a drop down. And I mean, they're on a, I won't say flat section, flat air section by Kyrgyzstan standards, at least anyway. Let me just tilt this up again because we're lost behind the mountains there. I appreciate if you're listening to this on the podcast, it's not a very visual thing to see, but so check it on YouTube. If you are racing, you don't need to look at this, but other people might want to just check this out after. But you can see the riders are coming up this long section here, so you can see on the bottom there's just a series of passes, and even though it doesn't look like too much, they gain in altitude all the time, and then so they're around here near Koshdobo, which is kind of probably one of the last towns before they hit a very remote section, and then they're going up onto this Chinese border road. So you can see on the solid red line here on Rider GPS, that's the tarmac. This area where my cursor is now, that will be to the west of the Chinese border road. That is where the really long hike was last year, if you remember. I don't think there's a long hike this year, but it's certainly kind of quite rugged terrain, and you can just see by the profile here. So this is the color grades show the steep sections. There's some pretty dark red sections in there. A series of 3 or 4 up and down passes. That's going to be really hard. Not much in the way of resupply. That front group of 4 riders is probably going to be up there somewhere tonight, getting higher. And then you can see the riders in this really sustained high section towards CP2, which is it's quite a way away. So you can see here it's Kelsu, which is where a CP was last year. But you can just see on the elevation there, they're at 3,000 meters now for probably the best part of 48 hours. And that has its own problems. And it's freezing cold up here as well. So I suspect that those riders at the front are going to have a pretty cold night. I suspect it be around, if not below freezing. And that has its own kind of implications as well for kind of general health and, well-being and things like that. So it's going to be an interesting one for those guys. So as we can see, I'll just run you back through again. So yeah, Jens, Alex, Justinas and Omar, they're pretty close together. They're just rolling over those passes. The other guys look like they are they're at Koshdobo, so they're staying the night there. So 10 o'clock, they'll probably have 3 or 4 hours sleep. And I think after tomorrow we're going to get a pretty solid picture of how we're looking. I mean, there was a few people like Justinas and Sofian had short sleeps. Sofian actually made a little reel, we'll show you that in a minute, saying he actually overslept, so that he dropped back a bit despite leading up towards CP1. So yeah, it's tough out there, but that's why we love the Silk Road Mountain Race. And to be honest, for me, it feels like in a world where, you know, we're looking at front riders wearing skin suits, booking hotels, staying in hotels every night on Divide and TCR. Silk Road is getting back to the roots where you can't do that. It's rugged, it's wild, and it's a true test of bikepacking and survival. There's a reason why Nelson favours people who've got outdoor experience over just cycling for selection to the Silk Road Mountain Race. So that is a little update for day 3. So let's head over to Instagram and just get some kind of videos from on the road. I've not managed to get any updates so far. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. I did get one message from Sofian. It was a one-liner. It says, super hot today and horrendous headwind for the last 3 hours. So yeah, it's sounds like it is pretty grim. And if you wanted to see that headwind, this is from Alex Kopp, someone who I've ridden with a lot. So yeah, you can see kind of roll and climbs in the heat. And yeah, that's the headwind. Super dusty as well, protecting his mouth. You always get lungs full of dust in Kyrgyzstan. So yeah, it looks pretty grim out there. So this is what Sofian had to say for himself. So this was a reel he posted earlier.
Day 3 of the Silk Road Mountain Race. Yesterday turned out to be pretty tough, with lots of elevation gain, several hiker bikes. I initially had planned to make it all the way to checkpoint 1, but at 1 a.m. I was still roughly 40 kilometers away from it, so I found a yurt camp. The guy in charge there was grilling chicken and he had soup, so I managed to get a meal before falling asleep in a yurt with 3 other Kyrgyz that turned out to snore quite a bit, but I guess that's okay, because to be fair, I probably snored as well. And for the first time ever in my ultra cycling career, I overslept. I had planned on waking up at 6 a.m. and I woke up at 7 a.m. Not sure exactly what happened. I just guess that if it happened, it's because I needed the sleep, and will probably help me be consistent today, which I'm gonna need, as we are headed in one of the most remote, wild part of the race this year. There will be absolutely nothing there.
So yeah, so that's Sofian. So he overslept for the first time ever. It just goes to show how brutal it was, and you can just hear from the breathing there, he's suffering and his voice is gone. So yeah, Sofian's good at putting up a good front, but he's suffering as much as anyone. This is Cynthia, we mentioned earlier. So yeah, she's basically just been sick since the start, and she's decided to scratch. It's a real shame. This was her first Silk Road, and she was aiming to complete all 4 mountain races this year. But yeah, we've seen that look, that stare, and there's tired eyes from a number of riders now. So I think the heat, the sickness has really affected everyone. So yeah, hopefully you recover well, Cynthia, and I'm sure we'll see Cynthia at Taurus Mountain Race in October. So I'm sure she'll want to come back with a bit of a bang there. This is Kerry, so she's doing an excellent race, currently leading the women. So let's just hear quite a long one. Let's hear about the first couple of days for Kerry. So this is Kerry.
Of the Silk Road is my first post because signal's a bit sugary, and I've been recording loads with my GoPro for BBC Alba and their documentary, and holy smokes, the first 2 days were savage, absolutely like punishing heat. But Office McPhee did her homework, and I took my time starting, like really took my time. And I've also got, I thought this was a bit daft, but I've got 2 bladders and 2 hoses. So when it was really, really hot, I knew it was going to be hot, so one bladder's got carbs in it and the other bladder's got an inline filter, so I was able to get water from the rivers and streams. So I was really well hydrated, and it seemed to work. What's more shocking about that is that I'm such a peely-wally Scottish bird. This top as well from Albion's got like an SPF 50ish, and it's really light, so I was really grateful for it. But yeah, I thought I was being a bit weird and excessive with my 2 bladders and 2 hoses, but I think it did the trick because it was just easy to get cold water. And I knew it would be hard to eat, so I put lots of carbs in the other bladder. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I was sitting in 4th for ages. And then by the end of day 1, I went past Natalie. I saw her getting into her bivvy at the side of the road, and I've somehow found myself at the front. Don't know how that's happened, but I'm just having the best time. Riding my bike, taking in Kyrgyzstan. It's freaking amazing, can't believe I'm here. I'm now at 490 kilometres, I think. So a few more hours and I'll be at CP1. I've only been sick once. I was a bit sick last night. I just couldn't, every time I stopped riding my bike, I just couldn't stop spewing. So I bivvied really early last night, like 8, and I slept for about 5-ish hours or so, which is quite good. And when I got back in the bike, I felt quite good. And I climbed up Kyrgyzstan as the sun was coming up. It was flipping insane and just the most incredible descent down. I couldn't believe it. But when I woke up, it was 7 degrees and I'd left all my clothes out to dry, so everything was soaking wet. It was 4 degrees at the top, but perfectly honest, I'm quite grateful for that. But the heat's back and I've just derobed. But anyway, I'm having the best time. I'm just riding my bike. I've trained for it, I've worked for it, but ultimately I'm just flipping riding my bike through an incredible country, and it's been okay, but there's a very, very long way to go. A very long way to go.
There we go. There's Kerry, and yeah, she's just playing it smart, isn't she? She's got 2 bladders, as she said. She's been drinking loads of carb mix, and yeah, I think looking after yourself early on and kind of getting through the heat can pay well later. And I think we've not seen the end of this. Some people who've dug too deep too early will almost definitely pay for this later on in the race. And like Kerry said, it's a long way. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how Kerry gets on. And yeah, with Natalie there, like close on her tail, it looks like we're going to have a really good race on our hands. Here's Max Rice. Again, there's a theme here, isn't there? Trying to get some food to stay in my stomach. CP1 done. So he dropped back quite a bit, but he looks like he's riding well, and he's coming through into that top 10 though. Max is experienced in Kyrgyzstan, and he's on really good form. He won Hellenic mountain race this year, really good climber. So we'll see how he gets on. I wouldn't be surprised if he climbs up higher. And then I'm just going to finish. So this is Katrian. Her husband Manu is out racing at the moment, and they were touring on their cargo bikes with their 2 boys. If you look up Finding Nessie, it's a really good film about a similar trip they did in Scotland last year. But now her and the boys are volunteering up at CP1, and yeah, got some nice videos. This is Jens van Roost, fellow Belgian, coming in. And you can see Jens is totally covered up there from the sun, so again, looking after himself. Jens is looking pretty good. A lot of riders are looking really wasted, but yeah, he's really strong. Remember, he's finished second in the TCR, in Tour de Vide. And there's Manu coming in with 2 boys running along next to him. You probably recognise Manu from a lot of my videos. Good friend, and normally just destroys me on the bike. And there's the boys doing what you do when you're waiting at a yurt camp in Kyrgyzstan. So yeah, big shout out to everyone volunteering. And then this is a post from the official Silk Road mountain race Instagram. So Omar Marteleno was the first rider to reach the yurt camp at Songkol, rolled in at 4:24, looking fresh and feeling surprised to be first in. So he had a little sleep in there. Jens was next just before 8. Alex came in at 8:30. And and this is an interesting quote. Everyone was surprised Sofian Sahili wasn't ahead of them, since he had been the first up the climb, but he opted to stop another yurt camp on the shores of the lake before pushing on. I think Sofian's maybe suffering a little bit more than he's giving on. So we'll see. But you can never ever rule out Sofian. I've seen him do some pretty incredible things on the Silk Road Mountain Race. He's won when he shouldn't have. Let's put it that way. And his mind game is strong, and he knows what to do. So Sofian will be back up there. He's not out of it yet. And then Stephen Davis, as his partner, rolled in after that. So there's Omar and there's Omar and Jens, and then we've got Jens filling up Iced Tea Classic in Kyrgyzstan, one of my favourites on bikepacking trips. As Alex Kopp, again, many of those who've watched my channel will be familiar with Alex. Actually, we travelled in Kyrgyzstan last year before Silk Road, and I've done numerous other trips together. He does like to brush his teeth. When we go touring, he's got like a whole electric shaving kit and everything. So he does like to look after himself. And there he is, the King of Chaos, Justinus. It's been a bit quiet so far. I'm hoping to get a message from him at some point. So watch this space on that. There's Justinus looking very tired. So with that, I think I will bring to an end my day 3 update. Looking forward to bringing you another update tomorrow evening. So thanks for watching, and catch you all tomorrow.